Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. Hope all of you are doing well, doing great at your examination preparation. This is a video session on monthly policy review for the month of December. The monthly policy review which we are discussing is actually released by the PRS Legislative Research. It is an independent think tank which actually work on the government bills and policy which is released. A detailed analysis is present on their website also. But through this video session on the monthly policy review, I'll be discussing the important bills and news that was reported, which is specifically going to help you in the both stages of examination, either it is prelims or mains. It will substantially make a contribution in your preparation. So let's get started and understand the important bill, the important part of the news that were reported for the month of December. So let's get started. So first is bill to replace three criminal law. I have been making a discussion to all these three law, that is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita or Bharatiya Sakya Sanhita. So all this three bill was actually passed by the parliament. Something very important for India which called for moving ahead from the colonial rule that was actually there in the country. So the three bill has actually been replaced. The implementation is due possibly by the year end. It will start from union territories and then it will gradually be coming up in the other states as well. And starting with the details on the scene, recently the three important bill was passed by the parliament which replaces the IPC, CRPC and Indian Evidence Act. I think most of you must be aware of the changes that has been proposed. So the Indian Penal Code was actually repealed by or replaced by the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. This is the second bill that was there by the parliament. The second is the Criminal Code and Procedure has been replaced by Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha. This is the second amendment that is there. And Indian Evidence Act has been replaced by Bharatiya Sakya Sanhita. So these are the other details. It will have 358 section instead of 511. The Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, it will replace 531 section instead of 484, and the part of Indian Evidence Act, which is now known as Bharatiya Sakya Bill, will have 170 section instead of 166, right? So these are the major changes that you must know. Other details is about the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, जहाँ पे कुछ important चीजों को incorporate की गई है. So the terrorism part has been incorporated, and it says that it defined terrorism to an act and intent where the individual is likely to threaten the unity, integrity and security of the country will be the part of terrorism, and likely to strike terror among the general public will be taken into consideration as an act of terrorism. Now, in the organized crime, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita has also added organized crime of an offense. It includes the kidnapping, extortion, honor killing, or even the contract killing, land grabbing, the financial scam, cyber crime that is carried out on the behalf of a crime syndicate. So this is how it all has been incorporated in the recently new changes that has been brought in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023. Now, the consent part, the offense by the group or a part of the group or entity, the new offenses that is there will be causing the grievous hurt to the group or the group of the people on the ground or certain identity marked as a offense. Now, this marker has included the part of race, caste, community, sex, place, birth, and language on behalf of any other grounds. Now, these offenses carried out same penalty as a murder and causing the part of grievous hurt. So these are the part of the changes that has been incorporated. Make sure if you're writing specifically in main examination, you should highlight this. Now, sedition has been removed in the new BNS, and instead of that, it has included the exemption and attempting of excite seditions, armed rebellion and subversion activities. उसके जगह पे कोई ऐसी एक्टिविटीज जो फीलिंग और सेपरेटिस्ट एक्टिविटीज को प्रमोट करती है, that will be the part of seditions, and endangering the sovereignty or unity of India will be even taken into consideration, and this will be counted under the sedition and the law will be accordingly applicable on the offenses. Now, bill regulating appointment of election commissioners. This was again a debated bill that have a lot of chaos in the parliament, but we are more concerned about the part of the important provision of this particular bill. So let's understand that. So the chief commissioners and the other commissioner appointment conditions, services, and terms of office was passed by the parliament. It replaces the election commission service, the condition of service, and even the transition of business act 1991. So prior to that, this was the part of the act that actually regulate and even supervise the appointment of the election commissioners and election commission, right? Now, features की अगर बात करें, there is a selection committee that will be there. So this you need to know precisely going to be relevant for the prelims examination also. If you're reading from Lakshmikant, you can even include this changes which has been brought. So as per the constitution, the CEC, that is the chief election commissioners and other commissioner, will be appointed by the president. Now the bill is to specify the procedures for appointment. For this, there will be a selections committee which will make recommendations to the president of the country. Now, other thing that is important for you to know, specifically again for prelims, that what is the composition of the selection committee. So first, it comprises of the prime minister of the country. Then we have LOP, that is a leader of opposition, union cabinet, which will be nominated by the prime minister, and the CGI could not be the part of panel. So the Chief Justice of India is not included in this. This has also created a lot of debate and criticism by the opposition party, claiming that this bill is not neutral and even does not include the part of transparency in the overall appointment. So that is another sort of debate. We're not getting into that as such. And the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha has not been recognized. The single largest party of the Lok Sabha will assume the role. अगर LOP recognize नहीं की जाती तो जो भी single largest party होगी उनके members को selection committees में रखा जाएगा. Now, qualification of the chief election commissioners and election commissioners. So, chief or election commissioners में क्या क्या important qualifications होनी चाहिए? Person should be holding an office equivalent to the rank of secretary in the central government and will be eligible as an appointment for the chief election commissioners or election commissioners. There must be expertise in managing the elections. The salary of the CEC will be equivalent to the judges of the Supreme Court, and even the others, the part of the service condition, medical facilities will be determined by the president through the rules, right? So this is how the things will work in terms of overall qualification for the chief election commissioners and election commissioners. Now moving ahead, draft regulation for the insurance product. Again, something very important. IRDAI is a nodal body when it comes to the insurance, the part of insurance regulation in the country. Some changes has been brought in. So what are the changes? The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDAI. I think you must be aware of this particular organization, a topmost organization, a nodal body when it comes to the overall regulation of the insurance sector in the country. Make sure you read about this. Go to the About Us page in their official website. You will get the details of that. So recent draft insurance product regulation has been brought in. This framework designing the insurance product and set up the committee to redesign the product. Now it seeks to repeal the following. First, it called for IRDA Micro Insurance Regulation 2050. Then we have Health Regulation 2016 and IRDA Unique Linked Insurance Regulation 2019. So these all three has been repealed out. And there are some key features to the recent changes that has been brought in. So first is regarding the design and pricing. इसको लेकर के IRDA ने categorically कहा है कि जो design और pricing है वो clear होनी चाहिए. Customer कि जो evolving risk है उसको cover करे, उनकी ज़रूरतों को cover करे. Simple to understand, the product should not have any gimmick, right? So any gimmick should actually be avoided. The premium rate should not be excessive and it should not have an unfair discriminatory prices. It should not have any hidden charges, right? It should not have any hidden charges and should be explicitly on the part of their products. Factor relevant to the part of pricing should be taken into consideration. उसके अलावा अगर माइक्रो इंश्योरेंस प्रोडक्ट्स की बात करें, this should be actually done for the low income group. See, Government of India is actually providing with the Ayushman Bharat and other schemes, but this is something which is for an individual who is actually looking for their own part with a private entity. तो उनके भी prices बहुत ज़्यादा high नहीं होने चाहिए. This offer the lower insurance cover along with the low premiums. The draft regulations call for such product and other payment with a targeted market. Life, general and health insurance should be tie up in the combination of micro insurance product. So the individual do not need to buy separately. It should have a combination and amalgamation of all the three parts, that is life, general and health insurance. Now there's a product management committee which will be there. There's certain part of the purposes which is actually there. So this will be responsible. The committee will be responsible for appropriate product designing. जो उसकी designing है, जो target market है, जो people centric होनी चाहिए, उसके लिए वो provisions हैं. They will be actually looking into the part. Regulatory compliances जो हैं वो this will be done through the product market committee. Then we have periodically review which will have a product performance and even modifications and withdrawal of the product if required. So this will be this with the power will be vested with the product management committee. Now, review of the product. All insurance product must be reviewed at least once in the year. That is for the appointment accruals, right? And even the review must be taken into consideration with the reasonable expectations, financial viability, and even emerging risk that is coming under this product. So these all things must be taken into considerations. Now the other is the Telecommunication Bill 2023. I have also made a discussion to this news in our daily news and editorial analysis. Here I'll be precisely pinpointing some of the specific features that is relevant for the examination point of view. Now you need to know that this particular bill has been recently approved by the Parliament. It actually the repeal the part of IT Act 1885, right? जो 1885 की एक्ट है उसको रिपील करती है, and it amends the Telecom Regulatory Authority India of 1997 as well. Now क्या क्या key features है? First is related to the telecom related activities, जहाँ पे the prior authorizations will be required from the Union government or from the government of India. This required to provide the telecommunication services, establish, operate, and maintain the expanded community network, and possess the radio equipment. So for all these three, the mandatory part of the approval is required. Make sure you know the details. This will be relevant for prelims. Now, exciting license will continue to be valid for a period that is there for the grant, and for 5 years, with a period for not explicit bin that has not been specified, right? So the sole prerogative rests with the union government as well. Now, assignment of the spectrum will be done. There will be auction process that will be taken care of, and this will be allocated on certain administrative basis. और इस जो खास करके spectrum की assignment होगी, this will include purpose such as the national security and defense, disaster management, weather forecasting, transport, satellite services, DTH, and satellite telephony. Apart from that, the last but not the least is BSNL, MTNL, and public broadcasting services. So the spectrum will be designed by the auction, except that they're specified for the other administrative purposes. The central government may have a repurpose or reassign the frequency range. So this is again important information that the power rests with the union government to make up repurpose changes and get reassignment. The power of the interceptions and search is again something there. The message or the class of messengers between the two persons can be intercepted, monitor, or block on the ground of certain things, which are that first, it should not threaten to the state. The security of the threat should not be there by the individual. Prevention of an excitement of an offences, and public order means that an officials authorized by the government may search the premises of a position of an unauthorized telecom network or the part of the equipment. So this is to ensure that the national security is not being breached on, but there is other downside to it. अगर negative consequences बात करें, किसी भी individual की right to privacy को भी इससे खतरा हो सकता है. So there can be, I mean, both side of the coin, positive and negative as well. Now moving ahead, the Central University Amendment Bill 2023. Recently, the government has proposed a Central University and Sanskrit and basically in Telangana. We'll see the detail to that. So the Central University Amendment was passed. The amendment of the Central University, which established the Central University for teaching research in various states, was actually passed, but will be precisely focusing on the part of Central Tribal University in Telangana. So this particular tribal university, which is there, which will be established at Telangana, this will be named as Samaka Sagra Tribal University. The territorial jurisdiction will be extending to Telangana. This can be a question for one-day examination asking you about the precise place where this is actually formed, right? It will provide, and it will try to provide the avenues of education research primarily for the tribal populations. And even the Andhra government has actually come up with the Recognitions Act in 2014 onwards, जहाँ पे इसकी बात की गई थी कि एक ट्राइबल यूनिवर्सिटी की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट होनी चाहिए उस स्टेट्स में. Now the review report on the national child labor policy, again something important, a detailed report was there. to that context where the national child policy needs some changes, right? So what were there? The standing committee on the labor, textile and skill development has come up with the national child policy report. एक assessment report उन्होंने table की है. The committee has made several recommendations when it regards to the part of eliminating the child labor and ensuring that the child labor are actually taken care of. They should be actually given proper education, and skilling should something that should be promoted. Now, what are the key observation? First is the prevalence of child labor. जो सेंसस 2011 है उसके मुताबिक ये बताया गया है कि जो child labor की brackets है that is between 5 to 15 year mostly, and they suggest that ministry should coordinate. There should be a coordinations among the ministries to ensure that there is a betterment and a policy which is working towards the child laborers. Typically, the work in the organized sector, such as they actually work in garage, कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट एंड सब स्टैब्लिशमेंट आउटसाइड द मैनुअल वर्क कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, जो कि एक्चुअल में लेबर लॉज में किसी भी तरह से इस तरह की चीजें मेंशन नहीं है. सो दिस बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ वायलेशंस ऑफ द लॉ व्हेन इट कम्स टू चाइल्ड लेबर. Now, preventing of the instances of the child labor, Ministry of Social Justice को एक significant role अदा करने की जरूरत है. They can make a proactive role. So the proactiveness should be there from the ministry. The committee has recommended strengthening the scheme by the particular ministry, and recommendation is regarding the competitive examination free coaching to the marginalized section. इससे होगा क्या कि the mainstream people, they will be coming into the mainstream through the part of the education system, rehabilitating individual from the substance use or abuse which is there, and even providing a quality food and education will do things a visible change. It also recommended the Ministry of Housing to give the legal benefit for the construction worker and their child are not forced to work. So these are the major suggestions and recommendations which was given by the committee. Now, rescue the child labor, इसमें पिछले 5 सालों में ये देखा गया है that 2 lakh children has been engaged in this the part of the child labor work. The committee has observed that a few FIR that was actually reported has not been taken into consideration, and they were not registered even under the Juvenile Justice Act, which actually categorically called for the registering on of an first information report. तो ऐसे पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को एक्चुअल में पेनलाइज करने की जरूरत है, पनिश करने की जरूरत है, बिकॉज there's a provisions in the protection of child from sexual offences act 2012 that every child abuse cases must be lodged in a police station if there's a first information regarding that. Now, moving ahead, wildlife protection of international trade of species rule 2023, we'll see the details to that. This is pretty relevant for prelims examination, considering the fact जहाँ पे IFOS, the Indian Forest Services के examination common है, तो wildlife या environment related topics काफी ज़्यादा important हो जाते हैं. Now, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified the rules with regards to the international trade of certain plant animal species, right? And this rule will be applicable under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, which has very important vital part and provisions when it comes to the Wildlife Protection Act. If you have not read this, read it in detail as per the exam relevance. The act prohibits international trade, endangered species with flora and fauna, and even permit valid certification when it requires the part of, when you're trading something or the part of animal and flora and fauna, this has to be taken into consideration with a certification and valid proof. Now, trade permit की बात की गई है. The trade permit for import or export or re-export of the endangered plant should be there. So they need to have a permit. They need to have a permission. So permit will be mandatorily required. The management authority under the act will be responsible for this particular permit. The applications must submit with the documents such as the legal procurement certificates. The export and the re-export will be valid for 6 months, and the import will be valid for 12 months. So make sure you take a note of this. For the part of export and re-export, it is 12 months, and for import, it is 12 months. For 6 months and 12 months. So these are the two variations. Survival assessment study की जाएगी, and authority will be taken care of. The management authority will take of the scientific assessment, which will be taken care by the scientific authority, जो कि इन सारे specimens की actual में assessment करेंगी that how the part of repercussions can be there, the invasive species, the non-invasive species, which is there, right? So the scientific authority in the research institute will notify by the central government. So this appointment, the constitutions will come from the government of India. And in the part of the export permit, the survival assessment may be conducted even for the Asian elephant, Indian python, gibbon, and other which will be conducted as per the scientific assessment. In both, the advice must be given within 30 days because we cannot take much time when it comes to the overall export or trade of the particular species. The rule prohibit export to the country which are not adopted to the convention on international trade on endangered species. So in countries में prohibitions होंगी, so this will not be allowed. Now, cancellations of permit, the management authority will have a sole the part of prerogative to decide upon the part of the permissions. The grounds which is mentioned is the potential commercial use of a specimen. If it is there, the cancellations will be done straight away. Inability to have a recipient in case of certain species such as sea turtle or river dolphin. Not minimizing the risk with landing the part of specimens such as the silver sepet and the primary hippopotamus. So this is something which will be taken into the part, or cancellations of the permit will be done accordingly. Now moving ahead, Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill. यहाँ पे दो bill passed हुए हैं. This is the one. Another bill is regarding the women reservations seat. We'll see detail to that. मैं दोनों आपको briefly बताऊँ. So the first is about the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Bill that was passed by the Parliament. The bill amend Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act 2019. This is again important. And the act provide for reorganization of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, union territories जो हैं Jammu and Kashmir में और जो लद्दाख without any legislation. So the changes will be accordingly brought in. क्या important changes है? First is regarding the seats. The 2019 act had a number of seats for Jammu and Kashmir which was 83. Now it reserves 6 seats for the scheduled caste, and the number of seats has been also reserved for the scheduled tribe. The bill has increased the total number to 90. So from 83, this number has now 90. It also reserves 7 seats for the scheduled tribe and 9 seats for the part of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe के लिए 9 seats reserved की गई हैं for the ST and 7 seats has been reserved for SC. In addition, allocations for 27 seats to the constituent in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that is POK, has also been there. Nomination of Kashmiri migrant, the bill acts जो Lieutenant Governor होंगे Jammu and Kashmir के, he can add 2 members from the Kashmiri migrant to the Legislative Assembly, and one of the nominated member must be women. So these are the recent changes, very important changes. Jammu Kashmir has been a sensitive issue. The rules which is there, and this particular topic is also relevant for your mains examination as such. Now the other bill that was passed is the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Second Amendment Bill. This called for other reservation part. So in this, the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Bill was passed in the Parliament. The bill amend the Reorganization Act of 2019. Same changes has been made. But what are the key features? First is the reservations to the women. The bill reserved nearly as possible 1/3 of the seats to the elected in Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly to the women. This is something very important, and even a classical example when it comes to the part of women empowerment. तो आप इस तरह के examples जरूर लिखें. The reservations will also allow seats for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe assembly. I have given you the number that is also applicable. The commencement of reservations की अगर बात करें, the reservations will be effective from the census. Even the bill which has been published, it has been published now. तो जो आने वाली जो नई census होंगी उसके accordingly changes लाए जाएंगे. Based on the census, the delimitations will be undertaking the reservation of the seat, and the reservation will be placed for 15 years. So this will be not something for a longer duration. It will continue for 15 years. However, the continue of such date will be determined by the law of the parliament. So as the parliament decide whether to extend or not to extend, this will be taken care by the parliament of the country. So this was all about for the PRS for the month of December, the monthly policy review which is released by the PRS. I hope this particular video help you to the larger extent for both prelims and mains examination. We'll be coming up with the PIB video very soon. So make sure you combine that video. That will give you a more complete informations for the part of entire news that was reported for the month of December. I hope you like this video. Do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for stay connected.